Hello, dear Backers, and welcome back for another character update. Today we talk about the last noble of the Sulu, Vaa-Lith, the damage dealer of our group, and here is Mark.
And Max from Woodpecker Games.
Glad to have you here again. So, Max, what can we tell about Vaa-Lith? Because so many things, it's not what we can tell because we don't want to spoil anything, and this character is very spoiler intense. So, what are the things we can tell about Vaa-Lith?
Yeah, we cannot tell about the first thing that I said in an interview, and Mark already read it on the BGG.
Yeah.
Yes, we have two kind of endings. We have two endings in the game, and the chapter of Vaa-Lith is very important for that two endings. And
yeah, so the Vaa-Lith chapter is the Vaa-Lith chapter is the last thing, the last chapter,
Yes.
which is happening in the game. So at the very end of the game, we will be in the Babel Tower, and we will have a Vaa-Lith chapter. So the background and the history of Vaa-Lith will be explored, and the Vaa-Lith player will be a very important part in choosing which ending of the game will happen.
Yes.
So not to spoil too much, just saying Vaa-Lith will be a very, very vital part of the end of the game. And yes, we will have two endings, and not just like different comics at the end or something, but we will have like different encounters and really different narrative story arcs, which will bring the game to different ending depending on the decision of the players in the last chapter. And this will happen in the Vaa-Lith chapter. So this is something which we can tell. On the other side,
not only by the choice of the last chapter. I think important is how the players work together in the whole game and how you and your friends have fun by playing the game. And I think all of them will influence all of these last questions and decisions.
Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, you will make this decision in some way together, but it will be very important for Vaa-Lith. Yeah. So what Vaa-Lith is? So Vaa-Lith is the character which comes from the species of the Sulu. So he's an alien character. He was part of the Great War against the humans on the other side, not like perhaps Ashitaka or other people from the group, like on the side of the humans, but Vaa-Lith was part of the Sulu army, so to say. You find snippets of his memory on the back side of the cards, and you see that he was also like experiencing the crush, the downfall of the mothership onto Earth. He was the bearer of Canopus, so a mighty weapon which has been developed by the Sulu people to fight humanity. There's even more story to Canopus, but let's keep it like this. During the war, Canopus was a very, very important weapon. And as you saw in the Hitome story, there are other people which already like supplemented the weapon, and who were like, there was this guy with a mask who was keeping this weapon for the spare bearer to get it back as soon as he needs to take on the fight against Babel again.
A small hint: you can have a very, very cool conversation about the guy with the mask and Vaa-Lith in the game. So try and find him.
Yeah, he will. You can experience this this person again in the game. And yeah, what else to say? So from a gameplay perspective, Vaa-Lith is the damage dealer. So we have the super peaceful and very good ethnical population of the Sulu. They were bringing like the nano fragments to humanity. They are really peaceful. They are very advanced and stuff. But as a profile, Vaa-Lith is there to destroy the enemies and to really shoot the way free for the other characters to act. And we want to go over to Tabletop Simulator and show you a few tricks on how to do this most proficiently. Because it can be sometimes a bit of a bummer when you look at the profiles, that the defense profiles of enemies against shooting are quite high. So normally higher than against other attack types. this is mostly because Vaa-Lith has so many dice to roll, but there are a few things which you can really do to make Vaa-Lith work very well, and we want to show you a few of those inside tips to make him like really shine. So let's get over to Tabletop Simulator.
But I have to say, Mark, again, yesterday our design game, you can also make damage with Ada.
Yes, you
with
can.
all of characters. You can, but it's totally easily with Vaa-Lith. You're right.
Okay. So let's, for example, so let's do a few basic things. Okay. So you see that Canopus is activated on a 5. Yeah. So this means you need quite a high dice to activate Canopus, and there are a few things which you should know. If you have this high die, you should use Canopus because you produce a combat value of 4 red dice when you use Canopus, because you have 2 dice from Canopus, 2 dice from the character. This in total makes a sum of 4 dice. This is quite a lot. So this is the typical attack value where the red dice are here. The typical attack value is 4 dice. And if you, for example, what a lot of players do is at the beginning of the game, like they use, I don't know, 2 5s, yeah, to form a double, and then use, for example, super shot or double shot. And if you do this, you get a 5th die, for example, for super shot. You get the 5th die, but you already spent 2 5s, and these 2 5s could have been used to make 2 separate attacks with 4 dice each. So in total, you would have rolled 8 dice with these 2 dice. Is this all clear? I mean, did I say it correctly? Yeah. It's a lot of dice, but the sum of dice is much bigger if you use it for separate shots. So if you have high value dice, try to use them, utilize them as single attacks.
Yeah, but sometimes it makes sense when you have an enemy with a high armor. Some kind of enemies have something like an armor that means the first hits will be cancelled by the armor, like for example the Xenocase have. Then sometimes it can make sense to put anything in one shot, because you just to have to cancel 2 dice, so the value to overcome the armor is not so high. It's higher when you have rolled separately. So maybe I think that can be important, that it can be useful for small dice or when you have a high armor value.
Yeah, that's right. Let me tell it again, like in a different way, so to make it even more clear. If the enemy has a high armor value, you have to overcome the armor value before your hits become damage. Yeah. So if he has an armor value of 2 and you roll 3 hits, so 3 times you hit the defense value or higher, the enemy only takes 1 damage because he's got 2 armor. Yeah. So the first 2 hits gets cancelled. And in these situations, it's really good to have a big dice pool. The bigger the dice pool, the statistically more dice become damage. So in these situations, it can be really good to have a few more dice for your attack. But even there, I think I don't did the calculations, but let's say if he has got armor 2 and you're rolling 4 dice twice, I don't know whether this not even would be better than rolling 5 dice. But this aside, if it's armor 1, it's clear that a bigger dice pool is better. So this is one situation in which you want to have a big dice pool, but normally you want to do a lot of separate attacks with these 4 dice. So when you're playing Vaa-Lith, always look at your dice. High value dice are good attack dice. I mean, perhaps you need them also for moving or for hacking or for whatever. But if you would try to attack just with your basic attack. Then Canopus has only one slot for upgrades. So choose your upgrades wisely. I mean, you can upgrade something which is upgraded already again. So you can always like sticker something over the sticker. But if you have a good upgrade here, it can be really, really strong. So this is one of the things which we wanted to give you in the first place.
You mean like the upgrade we cancelled in the game?
Yes, there was a time where we had like totally too crazy upgrades. Actually, there
Yes.
was a whole few months in which we were, this is quite a few years ago, where Vaa-Lith was like much too powerful, and he was throwing, I don't know, 10 or 14 dice sometimes for attacks, because we, before we come to the crazy combos or the really good stuff to make him shine, just a few words about double shot and fire lane. So these attacks are quite good. I mean, for example, when would you like to use them? For example, if you have twos, yeah, or threes or something, then this is complicated to get Canopus activated, because you always would need 2 dice to reach the 5. So if you spend these 2 dice, you also have a 5, and you could activate Canopus, but you spend 2 dice. So this is a bit ineffective. Much better it would be if you change this to a 3 and spend the 2 threes to do something with Canopus. And in these situations, it's really handy to have the starting skills ready, because now you can attack like more proficiently with your worst dice, so to say. And this is the situation when you should use super shot and double shot, like low dice, which you can also manipulate to get closer to your nano shock. Okay, so just this is a side note.
Yeah.
And always remember, they have your combat value gets reduced by fire lane and double shot by 1. And combat value, this means the total amount of dice you're rolling for an attack. So if you would normally roll 4 dice, because you've got 2 dice on Canopus, 2 dice on the character, you would with fire lane only roll 3 dice, and with double shot the same. So you would have 2 attacks, yeah, against 2 different enemies with double shot, but only with 3 dice. So this is a bummer. So only
But you can level them.
Yeah, you can level them up. You can like
Yes.
upgrade this to that there's no negative modificator anymore on the card, so that there's a 0.
But when you take a look to, sorry that I interrupt you, but
Sure.
when I take a look to double shot is a really good example for how the leveling work. Double shot can be a really mighty skill. You can level them up to a triple shot. Then you attack. Oh, we already have the German cards. Oh,
yeah, it's a German card,
sorry.
but we can tell you like this.
You activate and can fire 2 enemies. You can level them up, and then you can fire then 3 enemies, and then you can level up that you don't get -1 of your attack value. So 3 enemies
with your full attack value,
full attack dices, and you can level up the costs that you level up the costs that you just have to pay
2 twos.
2 twos, yeah.
So this is really crazy. You would spend 2 twos, a double of 2, like this, and then you can attack 3 times with 4 dice, 3 different enemies. You spend quite a few nano fragments on it, but it's really good.
And then you can activate the nano sync of Korra.
Oh yeah.
And then you have a quad shot. How is
quadruple? Quadruple shot. But yeah, you hit 4 enemies. So if you do it correctly, I mean these cards are like super crazy to level up. Like they are really, really good. But let's see another combination which is super awesome. Okay, shall we? This was subject to change quite a bit in our game.
Yeah, let me just
please.
Beginning about fire lane. I see that a lot of times in the on the demos, on the conventions, at the beginning of the first turn, we have 3 enemies are surrounded the group, and all player use fire lane. Oh, there's a lot of enemies. I use fire lane. 3 enemies is not a lot.
Yeah, that's true. 8 enemies is a lot.
Yeah, take a look. You need a street of 1, 3, and 4 or higher to activate, and you need 3 of your 5 dices to activate this to attack 3 enemies. This fire lane is a really good attack. It's a really good attack when you have 10 enemies around you. When you have 8 enemies around you,
which is quite good and quite possible in our game. Like it happens quite a bit.
Yeah. When you have a hell of a mass of enemies around you, then you can activate him. Activate him when you think you are dying, not when 3 enemies. It's a really powerful skill.
Yeah.
But not for 3 enemies.
Okay. So
Yeah.
this is totally true, and this is something which I also recognized on the conventions as well. So fire lane is really good if you have a lot of people, but 3 dice is a lot to pay. I mean, you could do a lot with these dice. So do AOE attacks only if it's really, really good. Okay, now let's go over to one of the most important combinations at the beginning of the game. You will find much more later in the game, but we have this wonderful sick gas injection. And as the card is in German, I will just tell you in English what it does, okay? So you or a character in line of sight range 6, also it must be in line of sight, it must be in range at maximum 6 spaces away, gets 1 skill token. You know these ADA skill tokens. And this character may use the skill token during his turn, whenever he attacks, and may spend it. And this attack gets another attack dice. Yeah. So let's say Ada during her turn is activating sick gas injection. Yeah, with 2, 3, 4.
And the lead get one of these tokens.
And she says, no, what? Wait.
Yeah.
And she says, okay, I want to give this token to Vaa-Lith. But I also want to activate the nanosync, the ability. And the nanosync ability says, if Vaa-Lith gives a dice or uses a die like this skill token not only gives 1 additional combat dice, but 2 additional combat dice. So this is the first thing. So you charge up the token. Then Ada gives the token over to Vaa-Lith. Now he's got a token. And during Vaa-Lith's turn, when Vaa-Lith is saying, okay, I will do now a super shot with lots of 2s, I have lots of 2s, I want to like boost this attack. And I've got 5 dice. Okay, now I also spent my skill token from Ada, and suddenly I've
You
got
have to copy
7
dice.
and suddenly I have to copy dice in Tabletop Simulator because I've not enough here. And suddenly I'm throwing 7 dice. I mean, this is like super proficient. This is like a lot of stuff which you can do. And then think about it. I mean, Super Shot has this sweet nanosync in which it says if Cora spends a die,
I do that.
Thank you. You can re-roll 2 of the missed hits, so you can re-roll 2 of your dice. So we were throwing 7 dice, and we've got 2 potential re-rolls, and this is without any upgrades on our weapon, which also could give us re-rolls or hiring certain dice.
Let's attack this Xeno case.
Yeah.
And see what's happened.
Yeah, okay, let's attack the Xeno case. The Xeno case has 1 armor. He's going to be hit on 6s. And we just roll our dice. That's super bad.
Super bad.
Yeah, and we do 0 damage. Okay. I mean, you're sitting there then as Vaa-Lith and say, "Oh my god, this was totally nothing. This is like super bad." But actually, this is also rolling of dice. I mean, this can happen, but it's your best bet against these big bad baddies, which are like, in the game.
Yeah, rolling again. This is a hit. Yeah, but it's cool. You have 2 damage. You get a nanoshock.
Yeah.
Come on.
You know,
the engine is against you.
Yeah, and okay, so this is one of the things. So you can have like a lot of dice and roll those to attack the bad enemies. And the next thing is Vaa-Lith is like the shooting value. Shooting value is quite high defense normally against those shooting attacks.
Yeah.
But Vaa-Lith also has a nanoshock ability, and this nanoshock skill, his Sternenshower is
Falling
stars is super good because against nanoshock attacks you normally don't have so high defense values, and as Vaa-Lith is rolling a lot of dice during his turn, he gets a lot of stress. Like because you see we rolled 7 dice, we had like 2 1s, and so the stress bar is filling up quite easily because you're always rolling, you're always getting the 1s, and you can also manipulate your dice. So it's quite easy possible to get even 2 nanoshocks or sometimes even 3 nanoshocks during 1 round, and you should definitely do this. I mean, Vaa-Lith is very prone to dying because of being stressed out, okay, be it because of overheating. This is not so bad, as you have two start items. You have the cooldown item. I would recommend always have a cooldown item ready for Vaa-Lith. Also not always, but quite often. Cooldown just gives you the possibility to reset your nanoshock cube. So this red cube, 3 spaces to the right on your stress bar. So you can 1, 2, 3 get this get this cube at least back to the beginning or even off the bar. This is just giving you a bit more time and a bit more possibilities to use your nanoshock proficiently. And on the other side, I mean, if Vaa-Lith goes down because of the stress, if it happens at towards the end of the encounter, it's fine. I mean, you don't always have all 4 characters. Not all 4 characters need to survive, but you also get a Nano Phoenix most often to revive him. So use those nanoshocks because let's see, the Biomutant has a defense value of 4 against nanoshocks. We already showed this in the Ashitaka video. This is really erasing them from the map with Biomutants. The security droid has a 5, so it's much more much harder to kill, but you throw a lot of dice with Vaa-Lith, and if you have if you can arrange that, as we showed in the Ashitaka video as well, that for example Korra with her nanoshock ability makes sure that this whole space is full of enemies, yeah, then you get the most out of your nanoshock ability, Falling Stars, and you can hit all enemies on one space with nanoshock defense values. So very powerful. Yeah.
Yeah.
We could look like a little bit in the future. I mean, the first upgrades for Vaa-Lith will just give him more attack power. So after the first chapter, we will give him a few like a more proficient super shot, which is like really designed to get even more dice, which can also boost the Vesica's injection for the bosses. Like this finishing off move of Vaa-Lith can really like strike the bosses. This is Todesstoß, I think it's final shot or something. And then we have rapid fire, which is an evolution of double shot, but you will also get like different AOE attacks, and you will also get a healing skill, as a very specially designed healing skill by Artemisia. So it's not necessary to play Vaa-Lith always like only as the damage dealer. Never forget, he also can hack. So if you are in situations in which you need to hack consoles, he's as proficient in hacking as the other 3 characters. And he's also like, yeah, he can also do objectives, and he has different capabilities. So yeah, if you have free time between shooting away enemies, use him also for different stuff.
Yeah.
Kemax, is there something you want to add to Vaa-Lith?
Positioning is really a good question with Vaa-Lith. When you take a look to Vaa-Lith, he have a 4 against melee attacks.
Yes, let me show you the defense values. This is quite important. These over here, yeah.
You have to choose wisely where he stands. You always I do this mistake sometimes when I play Vaa-Lith, that I get I smell the blood, and I say, yeah, I kill this one, I do the next nanoshock, and oh yeah, this one I kill it too, and I clear the whole board, and at the end of my turn I have 8 or 7 damage, and I stand, I don't know, in the front of all of these enemies, or I clear the whole board, it can be, but then I forget, oh, there's a reinforcement.
Oh yeah, they will spawn, and they will spawn and attack me because I'm standing like in a place where I have not, and as long as it's like as long as it's shooting enemies like robots or stuff, it's okay. But look at the defense values. If it's just normal plain old biomutants, they will crush Vaa-Lith. He's not good against melee attacks. If it's like the Xenocase or the bosses have nanoshock attacks, being attacked with nanoshock attacks, because those attacks are mostly very powerful because the bosses have like strong attacks, Vaa-Lith is super fragile against these kind of attacks. So make sure he's healed before the enemy turn. Make sure the tank has his back. Make sure he is positioned in a way in which he's not eligible as a target for most of the enemies. So like Ashitaka always uses his last dice, or often uses his last dice to activate provoke. Make sure you have one die off, just to like go somewhere where the action is not so hot and the combat is not so crazy strong.
Yeah. And that's the moment when you cry and start, Ashitaka, can you
Yeah.
provoke?
Ashitaka, do you have my back, please?
Yeah, I think that's just anything about.
Yeah, I think we talked quite a lot about him. So let's end the video stream. So I hope we could give you like a good insight over our damage dealer. He also is like he's interesting to play. He is really it's not only interesting because you have to choose the enemies you want to destroy wisely and in a group decision, because it's most of the time you cannot destroy everything on the board. You have like to choose the enemies. And he is how can you say he's fun to play.
Yeah.
To play Vaa-Lith is like really nice. You really have this feeling of getting something done, like getting these enemies away, like these biomutant things, just erasing them. This is really fun.
But sometimes it feels like you playing as a babysitter, because you take your die and you want to put your die on the board, and then the players, your companions say, stop.
Are you going to
Can
kill
you
this
move
guy?
there and kill them? And then I can stand there and provoke, and Kara say, no, you have to go to this position and kill them, then I can go there and make my objective.
Yeah, and Ada says, oh god, can you please kill this guy who's attacking me in the next activation phase, please?
And you think, I just want to kill. and that's I tell that a lot of times, but the lead is the only one that can make so much damage, but the decision who enemy will be eliminated is a cooperative decision of the whole group. It's not like you run away and shoot. It's always you talk about it. And the next turn, when you have higher complexity in the encounters, you start your turn and say, come on guys, what I have to do? You need my support. I want to kill this one. I have 2 dice left. Can I have a... And then it's a high tactical conversation.
This is something you know from the MMOs, perhaps, that you're just running behind the group and you're shooting everything like with a DPS. That's not the case in our game. Like with Vaa-Lith, you really have to make clear in group conversations which enemies will get attacked, how and why and when and stuff. So yeah, it's fun to play him.
And that's a point why this game is also good to play as a solo game, because each character is so much different. It's not too complex when you have all of this character, because each character have his own goal, and when you start the turn, you think about, okay, I have to do that and that. So then you start to think about, okay, I start with Ada.
Yeah, naturally Ada has to do this,
that, and
logically
Vaa-Lith have that. So, and that makes the game really good playable alone, because you get the objective steps in your head when you think about your turn, and you can't forget anything, because you see there's an enemy. Okay, I need Vaa-Lith. You take a look. And you don't have to look too much to. It's not like you have thousands of cards in a whole board on the table and say, okay.
Or these things which happen sometimes, that you're standing in front of your board, you're doing your stuff, then you do the next thing, like for example enemy activation in other games, and then you say, oh no, I forgot to activate this or that.
No,
this is not what is happening here. The things are like, if you want to destroy people, you will activate Vaa-Lith, and you will have to destroy people. If you want to heal, and you will want to heal, then you will activate Ada and stuff like this. So it's very naturally, you won't forget stuff. Like you will just go through the different characters. You will choose the initiative of the characters, and so you can play it like very easily alone.
And you have just 4 characters. And it is really like in an older RPG. You have a fight, the turn-based is on. Okay, Sabine, Final Fantasy VI, Sabine is on the turn, and then you say, okay, I need suplex, and bam. Or Terra is on. I give some support and like that. You know, it's really like the old Final Fantasy games. When the player is on the turn, you know what is to do, and it's not more complex. Like when you always play a RPG like that with 4 characters, you can easily play with anything. Aufwand,
Effort.
the game.
Yeah,
So
it's not so much effort. Yeah,
and it's a true solo experience, of course, when you play 4 characters.
yeah, especially because there's no like hidden traitor mechanic, no like
So,
something which is in the background of the characters. It's all open information. This is something which makes this game so engaging in group talk. The people have really, you see the whole engine of the player characters. You see everything in front of you, and then you're just discussing with each other and with your. I mean, you have the authority about your character, so nobody can say, "Yeah, you have to do this." I mean, it's your character, but you're discussing in open information and seeing the whole engine of the scenario. So, I think this is something which is strong about this game. Okay.
yeah.
I
my side,
want to,
anything.
yeah, I think this is everything. I want to say just one last note. I was really amazed, people, by the shopkeeper contest, creative content coming in. There are a few stories which I got goosebumps even if I'm just thinking about them. I don't want to say which those are, not to produce your vote or your poll in any way, like to make it different somehow. But those are good. There are good stories in there, and I'm looking so much forward to incorporate them in the game. And I'm almost a little bit jealous that you guys come up with so good ideas.
Yes, I read that and I say,
but really jealous in a good way. Like reading this, like, oh my god, this is so good. I want to have this good idea as well. So, hey, thank you so much. This is really a fantastic time we're having. It's creative. It's interesting. It's a very positive experience. You guys and girls, people are doing really great. Thank you so much. And
you touch us in the button of our heart.
Yeah, and I think from our side it's over and out, isn't it, Max?
Yeah, I think it's over and out. And
thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.